Rush on, boys! Hamilton at War. Written by Robert Child and narrated by James Gillies. Prelude. It is late fall 1776. George Washington's army on the retreat to New Jersey has narrowly escaped the clutches of British General Sir William Howe. After the American defeat at the Battle of White Plains, which many historians today consider a draw, Howe decided not to pursue the rebels. He instead waited for reinforcements. A fortuitous rainstorm further stalled action due to soaked flintlock muskets, and the British army decided to return to Manhattan Island. At White Plains, Alexander Hamilton distinguished himself and his New York Provincial Artillery Company by fighting a delaying action that allowed the majority of his fellow patriots in arms to escape. His was an independent battery of just 2 field pieces, but already his ambitions were rumbling as he began to claw his way up the military hierarchy. This was a man who would not be held down long. And that is where we join our story. Chapter 1. Alexander Hamilton, 19, tall, almost frail-looking, captain of the New York Provincial Artillery, marched beside his clattering cannons. His company of 60 men followed just behind him. The road was frozen and rutted. It was mid-November, 1776. Marching alongside Hamilton was his trusted officer, 35-year-old Captain Thompson, who looked on curiously as Hamilton talked out loud, practicing a request to his commander. Hamilton spoke to the air. "Sir, by all rights my company should move to the head of the artillery column." "No." "Sir, I formally request my company move forward." "No." Towards late afternoon, Hamilton's company finally straggled into Fort Lee, named for General Charles Lee, which overlooked the Hudson River. It had been a long march that began in Westchester County, New York. Imposing 300-pound artillery commander Colonel Henry Knox, 35, former bookseller from Boston, greeted Hamilton's company with a booming voice. "All right, Hamilton, have your battery position and the artillery parked to the far side behind the rest of the guns." The moment that Hamilton had practiced had arrived. "Colonel, my company has been in the rear since North Castle. With all respect due, sir, I request that my guns move forward in the column." Unmoved, Knox replied, "Request denied. Yours is an independent company, Captain, and not part of my regular artillery complement. You will march at the end of the line until I order otherwise." Hamilton frowned and continued into the fort. Sounds of booming battle drifted across the icy Hudson. Towering General George Washington, 44, uniformed in Continental buff and blue, and accompanied by his body servant, 26-year-old slave, William Billy Lee, led a patrol. They were joined on the ride by 2 staff officers and a disciplined, competent Rhode Islander General Nathaniel Greene, 35. The party arrived at the Hudson River's edge at an overlook, pulled up their horses, and peered across at the smoke hanging over Fort Washington on Manhattan Island. "My God, Fort Washington, it is under siege," Washington said, as he arched out of the saddle. On a fortified high bluff on the northern tip of Manhattan, Continental soldiers, mainly boys of 16 and younger, and old men, stood beside a pile of their surrendered arms. Brass-helmeted Hessians and an arrogant, dough-faced British commander, 20, on a white horse, closely guarded them. A young British drummer beat a cadence. Near the fort's flagpole, a British infantryman threw a blue and white colonial flag onto the ground and fastened a British flag to the rope and hoisted it. Nearby, American prisoners huddled. A dirty, scared 14-year-old American soldier with freckles and red hair, who had been hiding behind a barrel, darted out and ran for the gate. The arrogant young British officer on horseback pulled his pistol and cocked it. Bang! The young patriot, shot in the back, fell forward dead.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?